Pablo Escobar, the Colombian drug lord, had a thing for exotic pets. He loved his giraffes. He adored his flamingos. But his true pride and joy, those were his hippos. 4 rotund behemoths shipped all the way from Africa to his lavish estate, Hacienda Nápoles. It was the 80s. Cocaine was king. And Escobar was living the high life, literally and figuratively. Little did he know these bathtub-loving beasts would become his most enduring legacy. One that would leave Colombia, well, up a creek. A very wide, very hippo-infested creek. These aren't your friendly, herbivorous neighbors. These are 3-ton tanks with teeth the size of bananas. They're responsible for more human deaths in Africa than lions, crocodiles, and that one grumpy neighbor who always yells at your dog combined. And Escobar, in his infinite wisdom, thought, yeah, let's stick a few of those in a country that has absolutely no idea what's about to hit it. After Escobar's demise in 1993, spoiler alert, it wasn't the hippos, his menagerie was dispersed. The giraffes were relatively easy to round up. The flamingos, well, they kind of just flew away. The hippos, on the other hand, had other plans. They broke free from their gilded cage, bid farewell to the luxuries of Hacienda Nápoles, and headed straight for the Magdalena River. The Magdalena, my friends, is no ordinary river. It's the lifeblood of Colombia, a sprawling waterway teeming with fish, crocs, and unsuspecting manatees who were about to get a very rude awakening. The hippos, like tourists on an all-inclusive vacation, decided to stay. And who could blame them? The weather was lovely, the food was plentiful, and there wasn't a single predator in sight. It was paradise. A paradise built on a foundation of dung and impending ecological disaster. The locals, initially amused by these lumbering, out-of-place creatures, soon realized this was no laughing matter. Hippos, despite their cuddly appearance, are territorial and aggressive. Now, let's talk about hippo reproduction, shall we? Because, dear reader, that's where things get really messy. Literally. See, hippos are like the Energizer bunnies of the animal kingdom when it comes to making babies. They reach sexual maturity at the tender age of 3 or 4, and from there, it's game on. Females can pop out a calf every 2 years, and with no natural predators to thin the herd, those calves have a high survival rate. So what started as a quartet of portly escapees quickly multiplied. 10 became 20, 20 became 40, and 40, well, you get the picture. By 2025, the Colombian government estimated that nearly 200 hippos were roaming the Magdalena River basin. And that's just an estimate, mind you. Counting hippos is no easy feat. They're large, they're elusive, and they tend to submerge themselves in water, making them look suspiciously like very large rocks. Scientists, those killjoys of the animal kingdom, began to sound the alarm. These hippos, they warned, were a ticking time bomb. A poop-filled time bomb, to be precise. The Magdalena River, once a thriving ecosystem, was now a hippo toilet bowl. Fish populations began to dwindle. Native species like manatees and otters found themselves competing for food and space with creatures 10 times their size. The water, once a source of life, was now a breeding ground for disease. Farmers found their crops trampled, their fields littered with dung, and their livelihoods in jeopardy. Traffic accidents involving hippos became a regular occurrence. Imagine driving down a dark road late at night and suddenly, BAM! You collide with a 3-ton wall of flesh and fury. The Colombian government, already grappling with a multitude of problems from drug trafficking to guerrilla warfare, now had a full-blown hippo crisis on their hands. So, what to do with all these hippos? The obvious solution, one might think, would be to simply ship them back to Africa. But alas, dear reader, it's not that simple. You see, hippos are expensive dates. Capturing, transporting, and reintroducing a single hippo can cost upwards of $50,000. Multiply that by 200, and you're looking at a price tag that would make even the most generous philanthropist weep. Then there's the ethical dilemma. These hippos, after all, were not native to Colombia. They were an invasive species, wreaking havoc on the local ecosystem. Some argued that the most humane solution was to simply eradicate them. But culling hippos, even in the name of environmental preservation, is a PR nightmare. Animal rights activists around the world would be up in arms. The Colombian government, caught between a rock and a very large, very angry hippo, opted for a compromise sterilization. The plan was to capture as many hippos as possible and surgically remove their reproductive organs. In the midst of this ecological and logistical chaos, something strange happened. The hippos, those symbols of environmental destruction, became popular. Tourists flocked to the Magdalena River, eager to catch a glimpse of these unlikely invaders. Boat tours sprouted up, offering hippo-spotting expeditions. Local entrepreneurs started selling hippo-themed merchandise. T-shirts, keychains, even bottles of hippo piss hot sauce, don't ask. The hippos, it seemed, had become an unlikely tourist attraction. Some locals embraced them, seeing them as a source of income and amusement. Others remained wary, viewing them as a constant threat to their livelihoods and safety. The Colombian government, ever resourceful, decided to capitalize on this newfound Hippo-Mania. They launched a series of public service announcements, urging citizens to hippotize your home by installing hippo-proof fences and keeping a safe distance from these unpredictable creatures. The hippos, once a symbol of Escobar's reign of terror, had become a cultural phenomenon. As of 2025, the future of Colombia's hippos remains uncertain. Their numbers continue to grow, their impact on the environment remains a concern, and the Colombian government is still grappling with how to manage this unexpected legacy. Some experts believe that eradication is the only viable solution, while others argue for a more nuanced approach, one that balances conservation with the needs of local communities. One thing is for sure, the hippos have become an integral part of Colombia's cultural and ecological landscape. They are a reminder of the country's turbulent past, the unintended consequences of human actions, and the challenges of coexisting with nature, even when it comes in the form of a 3-ton herbivore with a penchant for pooping in rivers. Only time will tell what the future holds for these unlikely invaders. But one thing is certain: the hippos are here to stay.